Yes, sir.
So thank you. Good afternoon, good evening to all those in Radio Land. My name is Samuel T. Duo. I'm the Vice President for Grievance and Ethics of the HR Association of Liberia and also the CEO of Towa HR Solutions.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon to the listening audience. My name is Adolphus Beatier. I'm the Vice President for Membership Marketing and Communication for the Human Resource Professionals of Liberia.
Okay. Membership, marketing, and
Communication,
communication for.
right.
Okay. Ron.
Okay, I am Ron Wilson, a member of the association and the HR manager for SOS Liberia.
Okay. So you know who exactly you'll be talking to, or professionals in the field of human resource. So let me start by first of all, coming to you. Run to first of all start us up with the program,
Of course.
giving us the importance of the day. Why should we be celebrating Human Resource Day today? Because I know it's something international, right?
Of course, it's international. It's a significant day today.
Okay.
Um, so the day came about in 2019 where the European Association of People Management found it necessary to come up with a day to recognize human resources professionals. We didn't have an actual day to kind of recognize the people who get everything together. Most of the time, people see HR to be the hire and fire component of the organization, whereas HR is kind of responsible to make sure everybody is happy, everybody feeling at home, everybody is inclusive. We bring in the right talents, understanding the business strategy, growing the talents that you have to be able to match the business strategy and the development that you want to have. But it's always the CEO showing it, always the CFO, the accountants, and so. This day is set aside so that we can solely focus on human resources professional, the value we bring to organizations, and the kind of work we do in the background. So every year, the European Association of People Management would put up a theme. And then that theme would be broken down into sub themes. And on this special day, we talk about these sub themes in on webinars, seminars, conferences, and we kind of find a way to identify. So you would see across social media today, a lot of people have worn their HR t-shirts, sending different messages across, trying to appreciate HR professionals. You look on LinkedIn, which is the professional social media account. A lot of organizations and institutions are trying to showcase their love for HR and their support for HR.
Mm. So what's the international team? And probably I know our local team will be a little different from that, right?
No, we're sharing the same team with everybody in
Okay.
general. Yeah. I think the sub themes that we've had is championing ethical AI. You know, AI has been running around, and so the HR people, want to put ethics to it. So, for example, if AI doing things, AI will be dealing with data,
Talking about artificial
artificial
intelligence.
intelligence actually. So how can we put ethics into, how can we hold AI to be responsible, because we know AI, they're not human being, right? So how can HR people use AI in an ethical way that would not violate other people's rights? Like staff, we're taking staff information, we're taking customer information, we're using customer feedback. And so how can we as HR people ensure that this is happening? We're also looking at redefining the future of workplaces. COVID-19 hit us big time. And things have changed now. If you look in Europe and you look other places, people are encouraging hybrid workplaces because people don't want to go back to work any longer. People want to sit at their comforts and make things happen. And so trying to strike the balance between being present and versus staying a bit backwards and still enjoying the work. Another one is people leadership, excellence in people leadership. Under that theme, we're trying to make sure that we have leaders that lead with empathy, and not leaders who just giving people instructions the old school way. We're trying to see people who care for their people. If you look at the HR trend moving now, we're moving to the well-being of employees, no longer just profits and stuff. If you look at other organizations, they ensuring that not just delivering on profit, but they showcasing in their advertisement the kind of love, the kind of way they are able to take care of their employees. And so these are the things that HR people are trying to push across, trying to ensure that everybody gets to enjoy it. If you see the reasons why the EAP, and which is the European Association of People Management, kind of founded this, their purpose again is to ensure that we give supports to national associations, so national HR associations within Europe, within member associations can be able to benefit from these learnings, this skilling, this upskilling that we're intending to have. Yeah.
And all my working life, I've been interacting with HRs, and later did I know that we had an organization of HRs. Thank God that today at least I know. So I will just turn over to Tia to give us some understanding about this organization.
Okay, thank you. Here is the thing. Like Ron said, and HR has been a profession that people just think it is the end means that you just hire and you just fire. So many a times, some of the stereotype that goes with employees is that the HR calls you today, that means he's coming to fire you, or he calls you today, that means you have
Oh,
committed
that
crime.
HR front of
Yeah, yeah. So a group of passionate people for the profession decided on 2013 to organize the Association of the Library Human Resource Professionals. Today, at the level 3 membership, the founding members are Jonas Sokoti, who is the current president of the association, Mr. Stanley Ford, who is the board chair, and Fit Morris, who's another comrade in the profession. And then they group themselves together to say, well, we cannot sit here and HR is not redefined. So let's form our association and see how we can bring people together. One of the reasons for which we decided to form the association is to network. Because for an example, you will have somebody working in Firestone as an HR person. You also have somebody working to APN terminal, but they don't know each other. All right. So this association, being a member of it network all of us together. For now, as a speaking studio, if you call it an institution in, I will call it the HR there. So we formed the association 2013. From 3 membership today, we are going to 320 members now, both the private and the public sector. And we also conducted training for our colleagues. We also have an internship program for the association where our practicing comrades, like most of them are reading HR in the universities. Well, after they shall have graduated, they will have time to come back to the association that will provide internship for them as well. So there are a lot more reasons why the associations were funded. And now and then we can tell you that we have had 3 conventions, successful conventions. We had the first one in Buchanan before year. We had the second one in Ganta last year. April of this year, we were also in Buchanan again, and we have another convention.
Okay, all right. So we will get to you for more of such information. But let's hear a little bit from the Vice President, Samuel Duo, who is here with us as well. And we want to know about the issue of ethics and grievance, because I think what Ron and THS, outline, it will still fall within that same, purview of when we talk about ethics and grievance. And yeah, let's sit back a little and hear from you on that one.
So thank you. I didn't even know where I had camera here, so I shy away from the camera though. But I think it's quite important. Before I respond to the issues around ethics, let me add on to the 2 previous speakers concerning the association. So first, the global team. I think Ron was more focused on our local team. The global team is HR shaping the new future. And then he went on to speak about what this new future looks like, right? So we want an inclusive work environment. We want a well-being work environment. We want privacy being protected and respected. So he had talked about all of those issues. On the other side, I also like to emphasize with Adolphus, the HR Association in Liberia has done so much, but one of the things that we want to make known is that human resources management is not, you wake up tomorrow morning and because you're a news broadcaster or a radio, technician or whoever, and then you can fit and become a HR. So, like you find the nursing profession, you find the legal profession, you find HR itself is a profession. All right, people are certified, like you go and do your state board test in HR. We also have certifications that you're supposed to do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because the history of human resource management in Liberia wasn't as it is today, and because it came through the public sector in most settings, and it was called personnel management over the years, and in the public sector, you wouldn't find HR playing the most strategic role. And so, even when companies were formed, they never put HR at that point. And now, with the evolution happening across the world since 2000, in fact, human resource management had been playing very strategic role. Human resource management has evolved over time. In fact, we have even migrated from calling people personnel managers or personnel directors to HR directors.
Mm.
They move on to human capital managers. They're now calling it people management. You know, and some companies have even moved from calling the title as head of HR or HR director to human resource business partners, because you are supposed to be the person who translates the company's strategy into human resources program policies, procedures, like that.
Okay.
So because it is the people that deliver on the goals of the company. So there's a need to have somebody who plays that go between to have that. So I just wanted to add on to them.
Okay.
Now, why is it important for us to, enforce grievance ethics? Let's speak to ethics. In every professional area, people have to live and uphold the rules, the guidelines, the principles. All right. When you are recruiting, there is something called bias in recruitment. So, how do we ensure that HR who are recruiting are not discriminating just because you don't speak series
Mm.
and you speak your local language? I'm from Lima, so let me say you speak your Kyo kind of English, and so somebody decides that you wouldn't be hired for a job that does not require proper English, technical English,
Okay.
but you have the technical skills. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Or you're a woman, and we have this perception that certain jobs are for men, so we discriminate against you. Those things are biases in recruitment, right? How can we ensure that we prevent them from happening? We educate HR professionals that these things are wrong, they're against the profession. That's where ethics come in. How can we ensure that when the company applies what we call aptitude tests during recruitment process, you don't take the test and give it to candidates that you prefer to prep them so that they make a pass when you know that they are not competent for the job, right? So if a person is competent, let them go through the process, let them pass, and you make your selection. But if you have to prep them by giving them the exam, that's fraud, that's cheating,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So those are ethical things. The same in the hospital. If you apply some medical malpractice, your license is revoked. In the HR fee, those same things happen in some other countries. In Liberia, we are still in the embryo stage. We are still
Because there where I wanted to ask you whether there is a reporting mechanism now, because if I feel cheated, I think that I'm supposed to get this job.
exactly. So there is, however, it is not popular. We many times in Liberia we always have this syndrome where we say just leave it, let it be, let it stay so. So because we have this leave it, let it stay so kind of attitude, we have never tested the waters to see whether it is or not. But even if you go to the Decent Work Act, there are provisions that speak against discrimination in recruitment processes.
Mm.
How do we ensure that it is complied with? The other part is between the HR association. Why we aren't at the level yet is because the HR association is formed as an association. We are not chartered,
Okay.
you know, and like the way you have the bar association being chartered through the legislature by out of legislation, we haven't reached that level yet. So there are some level of autonomy we wouldn't have, but we'll rely on the Civil Service Agency for public sector. We rely on the Ministry of Labor for private sector to ensure that we enforce some of the rules and regulations that are required to uphold the HR profession.
Okay. And that was just the ethics, and but hopefully we will talk to Jonah Koti.
Yes.
Jonah Koti is the president of the association. He's currently out of the country, but we will hopefully connect with him as soon as we get him online. Then we will put him through on the program. But let me just remind you that today is International Day of. Am I getting it correct? Is it International Day of Human Resource?
Any way you want to put it, it's international. so because it's global, right? Like you
Okay.
have the International Women's Day,
Okay.
International Human Resources Day,
Okay.
International this day, like that. So like May 2nd was the Workers' Day, International Workers' Day,
Mhm.
and that day celebrated all employees across the globe.
Right.
This one is specific to people who are practicing HR management.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So I want us to talk a little bit about Ron spoke about AI, and all has to do with the technological advancement. And within your sector, I'm sure it's something you have your own advancement, because before we never used to have somewhere you go and just put your thumb,
Yeah.
and meaning that you are at work for that day.
Right.
But today we see such, meaning that there's advancement. But is there more to that in your area, that technology is advancing? Even here in Liberia, have we reached a certain level, or considerable level, in terms of technology?
Certainly. So I will just throw a general light, and I will let my colleagues, deep dive into them.
Okay.
But let's just take, for example, technology has always been around.
Mm.
When the personnel department used to have the filing system, and they had the first set of computers deployed in the different offices, they were storing your records using technology. What has happened is that with the proliferation of technology today, you now have companies like, we're now producing what we call software as a service. So people call it HRIS, the Human Resources Information System, where all your data is now being stored on the cloud or on the computer in a particular design software. There are tendencies, date of birth is a personal information. Your gender, plus or minus some personal information. In Liberia, we have recognized only two genders, right?
Mm.
But in other countries where there are multiplicity of genders, you think about it, it becomes a very sensitive issue for somebody to just get up and expose your information. Salary is a personal information.
Of course.
All right. So there are tons of things that now we are migrating from the paper-based filing system, where you have to physically come into the office and break that cabinet and take off that file. We are now storing on the computer. Somebody could be, a bit careless while typing something. They have their Facebook open and they just mistakenly type the information into the Facebook, and it's public, right? You breach data privacy for the workers in that institution. Or you may go to the copier, and you are printing pay slips, and you send the print command and forgot. Maybe you're on the phone or doing something, and you have a shared printer somewhere, and you forgot to go and pick up those pay slips, and people's salary information, social security numbers, date of birth, everything are exposed somewhere. That's a breach of data privacy. So we, as the HR professionals, we are saying, as an association, we are trying to create an awareness on how the practitioners in this field can ensure that every single data you collect from the employee is stored properly, is processed for the rightful reasons, and not used for anything other than the purpose for which it was taken. So I should not take your salary information, go and post it on Facebook or send it to my friend just because I want them to be discussing how much you earn in your company.
Mm.
That was not the intended purpose for which I had access to that information. The
Okay.
other part is who should have access to certain information. All right. There has to be levels and tiers, right? So these are the things that we are trying to champion. And we started this process as part of our team for this year when we did the convention. And that's why we are rolling throughout the year, including this HR International HR Day, because we want to emphasize that HR professionals. So first thing, we have professionals and we have practitioners. We need to separate the two.
Okay.
All right. And we'll come to that in a bit. So HR practitioners, and I'll keep using the word practitioners most of the time because somebody who hasn't been certificated, they have not gone through any formal HR training, but they're sitting in the seat of a HR, they're considered a practitioner at that point. All right. And then the person who has gone through the formal training has been certified, that person is a professional. They are part of the professional body, right? But now we have it open to everyone and we're trying to create this awareness and the education on how it's supposed to be. And so that's very important for us to understand that technology plays a significant part in enhancing the way we work. It equally has a downside, and HR practitioners need to understand that you cannot just take people's data or use technology to violate people's data privacy.
Okay. Let's check whether we have Koti on the line now. Is Koti on the line?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So just to add on to what Sam just said, the HR. Okay, put this on the line.
okay. Mr. Jonah Koti, president of the Association of Liberian Reese. Hello, welcome to the Bumper Show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very so much.
Okay, you are not here, but at least technology, has put you right in our midst. We are talking about the day celebration today. That's International HR Day. What's your take as Liberia today join other nations in celebrating the day?
I think it's a great opportunity for all of us, especially Liberians practicing human resource in and out of Liberia. It's an opportunity for all of us because this is one discipline underrepresented in Liberia. A lot of our academic institutions are not even offering a degree in HR, in HR. So if you see some of our colleagues who are doing HR, either acquire trainings from other places or they travel abroad. So indeed, today is a great opportunity for every one of us to appreciate the efforts made by HR in the past years and the efforts they are still making championing people management issues in Liberia.
Okay, so listening to you, there is no professional institution in the country that's offering, people the opportunity in this field to become like you. So as an association now, what are you guys doing? What efforts are you making to ensure that I don't have to travel again before I can get, some knowledge about HR?
This is why we exist. The Association of Liberia Human Resource Professionals exists purposely for this. We have a learning and development department, VP headed by Roosevelt. I'm sure in studio today. We've done a lot of trainings over the past and continue to do training, soft training, training human resource management, and as well support other universities to do a certificate or diploma program so that you may not necessarily have to travel before you can get a job in HR. We upskilling people for better performance in HR, and this is how we've been working over the past time, and we still have our plans to continue working with other institutions like labor, like the CSA, and other HR bodies to support us in the process.
Okay, I know we'll talk about that one shortly in studio. But thank you for taking our call. Anything finally you want to close up with because we want to let you go?
I just want to take this time to appreciate all HR professionals who are practicing in our Liberia. Being HR is not an easy task. You caught between the season most of the time. You are able to manage your own stress and tension, but at the same time pushing to ensure organizations succeed and ensure employees become the best. So thank you so much for the work you do for your organization. Thank you for the work you do for the HRL Association. We appreciate you so much, and together we can do better for now and the future. Thank you.
Okay, that's Jonah. So Koti is the president of the Association of Liberian Human Resource Professionals, and he's there in
Guinea-Bissau.
okay, in Guinea-Bissau. Getting to him in all the way there in Guinea-Bissau. We don't have much time now, but I want us to go through this issue of he just talk about it a little bit. Your ongoing collaboration between the Civil Service Agency, that's the CSA,
Right.
and the Labor Ministry. What's currently going on between this association and those government institutions?
Okay. So, like you said, the two institutions are our partners in progress. Specifically for the Labor Ministry has been our traditional partner because we got an accreditation from the Ministry of Labor some time ago, giving us the opportunity to ensure that we have HR practitioner like Aborofa Sam said, so we can have more training for our people. The CSA part of it is that there are a lot of HRs in the public sector. So this organization runs into two areas, both the private and the public sector. Of recent, we have another training to CSA conference from where we are over us on the 5 HR practitioners and professionals, and then where we train them in various aspects of HR activities. So they are our traditional partners. We are working with them a lot more with the Labor Ministry. In fact, just ended convention in Buchanan, we were also assured by the Ministry of Labor that we are also working on a program where there will be an annual labor audit for all entities in Liberia. With that, what it will do for us is that it gives us a clear cut of information to see how labor activities are ongoing with that institution. This is something that have never existed before. Only a few institutions hiring the HR Association to do for them. So we also did as a proposal during our convention to the Deputy Minister of Labor, Steve Koluba, who attended our program, and then we brought that to him. Currently, we are working with the Ministry of Labor on that. And so much we are working on.
Okay, and wish you well in your endeavor. But many institutions or associations sometimes die down because of lack of finance, lack of income to sustain the association.
Right.
So you coming together sometimes, or I know someone who might be thinking, how are they sustaining? Probably you might have office space, right?
Right.
Who's going to pay for that?
Right.
Your trainings you're going to be undertaking, who's going to pay for that?
Right.
How are you generating your income?
So here is the thing. Firstly, financial issues have been a difficult issue that has to do with the sustainability. But we being professionals, we have an annual due payment that we paid across the board.
Okay.
So which is $100 United States. And then we have training. That's one aspect of our income. We do a training for our members, and then where we attach a little fee. All right. So if we were doing training for people of the association, we open the training to all HRs of Liberia. So for example, if you are a member of the association and the training cost is $75, once you are a bona fide member of the association, you pay $50. Other those things, they are small income. When we go to the convention, we have our brand items like our sticker, our T-shirt, our face cap, all of those things we use. We do sales for them, and then we generate something that sustains the institution. Yeah, currently we are having an office space, but the president who just spoke of current, he's hosting the office at his office because he runs an HR firm too. They call Guru HR Consultancy Firm. So that's where we are. So I mean, we strategizing more ideas and looking up to our board and members to bring in funding as well.
So let me support that, because that's a tricky question he's asking. So the HR Association is approximately 11 years now. So if you take 2013, when we formally launched, to now, it's 11 years. However, as an association, we have been taking baby steps to grow. So there are some things people may expect of an 11-year-old institution. It's not in place yet. For instance, after 8 years before we have had three successive conventions, right? So we had to grow, we had to establish, we had to put in some framework, build a momentum. So now we're working towards a lot of things. In terms of sustainability, also just to add, the HR Association, as an association, we do get contracts to support institutions as an association, and that brings in money. We have HR consulting companies that collaborate with the HR association that also bring in some money to the association. But uh, say 80% of our funding comes from our membership dues
Yeah.
that people pay, and that's why we are creating more awareness about the process.
And I just want to know a little bit more about the training you talk about, that you said when once you are a member, you if maybe you people were collecting 75, you will have to pay
Right.
No,
$50
you'll have a discount.
discount. But I want to know whether someone who's starting from scratch, maybe this person is just a college graduate, a university graduate, and probably wants to be a human resource professional. Can you start to groom such person? Do you have trainings in that area as well?
So our trainings are not targeted toward entry level, mid career, or senior level. We haven't that's it for our trainings in that space yet. All right, we hope to come to there very soon, and that's why we now have a vice president for training and manpower development, so that that person takes on some of these things you are asking about.
Okay.
However, when we do trainings, they are generic and they provide the foundational basis so that a person at the entry level can learn and understand. A mid-career person can refresh, you know, a senior level person can also refresh themselves through that training. We have we so like Jonah as the president, he works with AMU University, I think, where he supports them in the HR program there, and so we encourage people who want to learn HR to go there. My company provide HR training, so we also encourage our members who want to acquire a certificate in HR to come there, or they go to LIPA, or they go to Codington. So there are just different options we provide for them. But what we concern about is that those trainings that we have verified and know that it meet the standard, that when a person comes from there, they are competent enough to serve as an entry level or mid career HR. Those are the ones we recommend people to attend.
Okay.
And so that's different from our internal trainings. When we conduct it, we provide discount based on membership and non-membership.
Right.
Okay. So I have
And it's also a membership marketing strategy to get more people to say, instead of paying $100,
Yeah.
I'd rather be a member and I can pay
$75.
$75, something like that.
Right.
of course 20 minutes up to 5 o'clock right now, and I'm thinking whether the day is already gone. What are you still having official program for the day?
That's the official program here.
Okay.
So we just had a convention. I mean,
Yeah,
in practical sense, we had more than 70 plus HRs gathered in one space.
Yeah.
And they were there for 3 days or so. And this was just at the end of April.
Yeah.
So we don't have any major activity happening now. But this is part of the activities we're driving. We want to create more awareness. We want to talk about this. I also like to just emphasize something. Sorry, guys. You asked about the public sector. So unlike most private sectors, the public sector had this perception of HR. So right now, the fortunate thing is that we have started building that relationship with them, and the HRs within the public sector are now participating. So they are seeing what it means, to be a HR. It's not just because as a public sector HR, you are providing service, and your service quality has to be on par with the private sector that is providing a service or a product.
Okay.
You understand? And so now those are the kind of orientation we're providing. It's going to take some time. Change is always a process. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's slow, but we are gradually taking baby steps to get there, and so I think we have an appreciable number of public sector HRs that
Right.
are fully participating. They can now speak up. They can now, ask questions on things they don't understand, and so there are just a lot of benefits that are being achieved through this whole partnership with the CSA and the Ministry of Labor.
Okay, so we wrapping up now, and I will like to take you guys across the table your parting comments. But let me start with you, Wilson.
Um, what I'd like to pat with as we leave here is to encourage people to join in the field. I remember when I was joining HR, there was this stereotype that it was more of a feminine thing. And if you look at how HR has evolved, uh, kind of like calling it feminine wouldn't be ideal because now there's a data science component to it, makes it more scientific. There's a research component to it. There is the hiring and recruitment as a science in itself. It's a fun thing to do. It's very very deep in terms of a profession, and it's not just tied to the hiring, the firing. And I'm also encouraging a lot of human resources professionals who are out there. The association is very very wonderful. You can rely on professional experience that you can be able to ask questions to network together, feel supported, and still have that psychological safety where you don't feel that if I ask a question it sounds stupid or what, because that's the space where you get to feel free and ask those questions and still go to your management and feel confident around it. And there's this unique thing of people willing to share resources, so you don't have to start from scratch things that people have jumped over. It'll really surprise you that the things you think you've seen, that it's your first time seeing, someone has seen it before
Mhm.
and they've kind of worked their way around it. And so you kind of throw a question into the HR association chat room and say, hey, how do I handle this? And you see how supportive people are. People keep sharing that. Don't work in a silo. If you're an HR person here, we're trying to build the association and get a really really big brand. And so it's very important that we all come together, we hold hands, we share into it, and we advocate. So one thing that we really didn't emphasize on here is the advocacy component of it. If there are things happening out there around the world and we feel that it's wonderful for it to be applicable in Liberia, it's important that we lobby with our partners that we said, the Ministry of Labor, the Civil Service Agency, to be able to see if they can come up with working documents that can make it quite applicable in the place. I remember in the old law at that time, we didn't have paternal leave. Now we have 5 days of paternal leave. Things are evolving now. Men want more than 5 days now, and in fact, they want it to be paid. Why should I go home and not be paid for 5 days? So, in fact, people are now. If you say, "Mama, your woman not deliver go home," and say, "For what? I will not pay for 5 days." So they kind of lobbying and want to lobby, even with our partners in the legislature. Okay, they say, come on, it cannot be unpaid. It sounds more punitive than as a benefit. So it's going to be baby steps, as he said, but we want to get to a place where we have a lot of bargaining power. We can be able to tell that, hey, this is what is working across the world. It's good for everyone because you are an employee, you are an employer. You want to have a favorable relationship. Gone are the days where only the employer makes decisions and then everything. It's going to get to a time where skills are going to be so scarce that employees are going to dictate what they want, and we want employers to start getting their mind ready for it, because if you don't have the skills and you just got 3% in the country, they will bluff and they would have to demand what you can be able to give them. And so let's prepare our minds for that. Let's see we get to a space where employees can ask without fear and employers can grant without granting too much. Yeah, over.
Okay. Um, Adolphus?
I know much have been said about Ron, so with the
Mhm.
time, I just want to re-emphasize the issue of membership with our colleagues. Those of them that are out there that are not member of the association, I want to encourage them to join us because there are benefits that are associated with when you are a member of the association. I also want to remind all of our colleagues that went for the convention who have not paid their registration yet. I just want to take the open platform to remind them that they need to pay because we'll be updating our listing shortly and we'll be getting back to all of them. I want to reach all of them a happy HR Human Resource Independent Day today. Thank you.
Okay. Samuel?
Well, I think first let's give John and Cody the appreciation and recognition for leading this professional body. It is not an easy thing to lead, group of educated and diverse people, and he's been doing pretty well. Let's also thank the board and Brenda T. William Nelson and Stanley Ford, and for all the hard work they've put in. We also want to say happy HR Day to all HR professionals and practitioners in and out of Liberia. Today is a day to reflect. Today is a day for us to see the significance of what we do. You like bring all your money, you like buy all the assets. If you don't have the people, you don't have a company. And that's why whether technology comes or technology goes, the people will always be required to make it work. And so we should value our people. And those HR practitioners and professionals that go the extra mile to make the company successful, we should support them, we should encourage them, and we should celebrate them. It's not easy to be a HR. Somebody wife slap him in the bedroom in the night. He calls you to complain that to you and explain to you what the wife has done to him. Somebody husband beat her. She calls you and tell you everything. You have to carry that psychological burden of hundreds of people, and then you got your own problems in life, right? But you have to balance your personal problems so that it does not affect anything you're doing, and make sure you are seen as the people's representative. We need to celebrate those kind of people. We need to thank them. We need to pray for them. We need to appreciate them. And that's why we are out here today celebrating them.
Okay. Samuel Duo, he is the vice president at the Association of Liberia Human Resource Professionals. You earlier heard Adolphus Tia and Ron Wilson, or officials of the group. They've been here today on this very important day, International HR Day, talking more about their institution. And let me say, gentlemen, thanks to you guys for coming on the program today.
Thank you.
Okay, so on that note, that's how we end this interview with the Association of Liberia Human Resource Professionals. Keep listening to the program. Up next, we have something else